It could take more than a week for the main route between Gisborne and Bay of Plenty to reopen after thousands of cubic metres of earth and rock tumbled onto the road. In the meantime, motorists will be forced to drive up around the East Cape, instead adding hours to their travel time. Fruit and vegetable growers are worried about the disruption that will cause to business, while the local mayor is concerned about people who may need to travel the route for medical treatment. The Transport Agency's National Operations Manager, Mark Owen, says they are working as fast as they can, but can't say for sure when the Waiweka Gorge will reopen.
Yeah, that's the challenging question. I mean, obviously we've got this approximately 7,000 cubic metres of material that's come down. We've got crews that are attacking it from both sides because the road is closed, but they're working hard to move the material. But we're talking days, not hours, in terms of the time it'll take to remove all that material and then assess it and make it safe. 7,000
cubic metres that has come down. What's still up there that is vulnerable?
Well, the photos show that what's there looks relatively clean. There's still some small material coming down, and obviously coming down from that height still presents quite a danger and a risk, particularly for the workers in the area. So they can only work during the daylight hours, and they have got spotters there to just keeping an eye on things. But once they have cleared the material at the base of the slip, then our geotechnical engineers can make an assessment of where to from here, and as soon as they deem it safe, then we'll be able to get that road open again.
It's a hell of a road, that road through the gorge. Anyone who's driven through there knows that there are just slip possibilities everywhere. But has there been enough money spent, enough care taken around remediation of at-risk areas?
It's like all New Zealand topography. It's just the nature of the land and the environment that we live in. I mean, it's beautiful and vast and challenging and rugged. And this gorge, which I think is about 38 kilometres long, goes through some pretty high hills, and it's obviously got the river alongside it as well. So it presents lots of challenges, but it's none that we can't sort of work our way through. And so we're keeping an eye on, for example, this area is being monitored by our guys in terms of the geotechnical nature of that area. But it's like all parts of New Zealand. When you sort of get wet weather, the odd earthquake, there is a risk that we will find that the hills start to move and material will come down.
Are you underfunded though? Because you find yourself working your way through these issues after the fact. And I just have a sense from people who are connected with NZTA that I talk to that there is real frustration about your inability to be preemptive with situations like this.
No, it's not a funding issue. It's just, again, there's a lot of areas across New Zealand where we have these steep mountains. And the challenge is you could go and address one slip and you've got another three that occur down the road. So it's a matter of being vigilant and working out where the highest risk areas are, working out what the mitigation is for those areas. But it is just the nature of New Zealand. There's a lot of areas across New Zealand where, due to the nature of the mountainsides and the topography and the rainfall we have, that we can have slips occur on a large percentage of those highway mountainous roads.
So, Mark, what's Plan B? How do you get to Gisborne from the north now?
So there's two detour options. So if you want to go to the north, that's around East Cape on State Highway 35. A fairly long detour, probably adds an extra 4 hours to the journey. The other
4 hours, and that would be right.
To the journey, yep.
I mean, it's a wonderful drive, but you ain't going anywhere fast when you go around the coast, are you?
No, that's right, and you do need to sort of take extra care on some of those that tight, windy coastal route, but it is very scenic. The other route is to head south towards Napier on State Highway 2 and then take the inland route State Highway 5 to Taupo. So that's another alternative, but again, this is adding hours to the journey.
Wow. So, in fact, there is no way in that isn't a seriously extra amount of time.
No, that's right, and that's why our crew's very aware of this. This is sort of a major link between Gisborne and Aporiki, and there's daily freight and goods go that way. So we're very aware of that, which is why we've got the crews that'll be working hard to move that material and get that road open as quickly and as safely as they can. And
there used to be a wonderful train line to the south, didn't there, between Gisborne and Napier, but that's gone as well. So poor old Gisborne is a little bit stranded, isn't it?
Well, it just puts a lot more pressure on the roading network, which is why we need to be vigilant around our maintenance and working to keep those routes open when we can. We're obviously aware also there's a weather event that is coming up the North Island over the next 24, 48 hours. So there is potential for that Napier-Taupo road to be affected by snow. And over the next few days, ice is going to be a major concern as well. So that obviously presents some other challenges for people that are travelling through that area.
There's still the road out through Wairoa, I guess, heading south, and that's a coastal route. So unless there's heavy flooding and weird slips there, you're probably safe. But you're not worried about Gisborne being cut off entirely, are you?
No, not at this stage, no, because as you say, there's a road to the north, State Highway 35, road to the south, State Highway 2, and as you said, there's actually another road, State Highway 38, which takes you through the beautiful Te Urewera National Park, but it's a very windy, unsealed road, so that would be sort of a last resort.
So, State Highway 2 through the gorge, which is the main and really only sensible route, particularly if you are carrying freight, north from Gisborne, you say to Portiki, but in fact it's to Auckland, Tauranga, it's to the top half of the North Island, isn't it? When do you hope to have it open?
Well, we'll make an assessment sort of as the crews work through it this week, but it definitely will be closed for days, given the volume of material that's come down. But they'll be working as hard and as fast as they can, with all safety caution taken as well, to get that slip clear and get a lane open as soon as we can.
This week?
Well, certainly, of course, there's a whole lot of dependencies. I mean, it depends on the weather, and it just depends on how quickly they can remove it. And obviously the geotechnical engineers need to make an assessment of, once they've cleared it, is it safe and what we need to do before we can open it up. But we're certainly working as hard, as fast as we can to get it open as soon as we can.
Mark Owen from NZTA.